Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today is going to be another trying to fix video. Now I've got a good idea what's in here, so let's open it up while I'm chatting. So like always, I am not a professional at this. I just like taking things apart and trying to fix them, hence the title, Trying to Fix. The stuff you see in this video may not be the best way, probably won't be the best way of fixing things or taking things apart, but still I'm hoping that the end result is that we will have a good chance of fixing this. Yep, I can see what it is here. So in here we have a Nintendo Wii U. And this is supposed to have a faulty gamepad. So let me show you the listing of this and how much I paid for it. Right, okay, so if you have a look here, you can see that this is the eBay listing here. And it says here, Nintendo Wii U, read description. So I got it for £45 plus £8 postage, so £53. And it says here, it says spares or repair. The console itself seems to work fine as far as I can say. It reads the disc as you can see in the pics, but unable to test it further as the gamepad won't charge or turn, must be turn on. Included in the listing are the console gamepad, console mains adapter and Mario game disc only. No charger for the gamepad included. Nothing else than what's specified. Some guy said that the battery of the gamepad might need replacing, but I haven't tried that as I have a new console now. So it'd be nice if it was the battery, because on this one they're actually designed to easily take out. You know, Nintendo did it where you just have to undo, I think it's like 1 or possibly 2 screws. So I think it would be unlikely that it was the battery, but who knows, it could be as simple as that. So let's see what else we get in here. Right, okay, so that is the actual power supply for the Wii U. It's all very nicely packed. Again, it doesn't look like a business seller on this, it just looks like a normal guy selling his faulty Wii U. So hopefully I will have a chance of fixing it. Now I already have the Wii U, so worst case scenario, I will be able to take parts out of my working one and putting them onto this one to see if we have anything. So I'm presuming the Mario game is in the actual Wii itself. Or the Wii U itself. The Wii U's gotten a lot of hate, but I actually think it's a really good console. I think it's a great idea. It's just a shame that the distance the gamepad works isn't very much, and also the gamepad kind of looks a bit dated now. But you know, it's got some good games. Not a huge amount of games on it, but the games that are on it are good. Right, okay. Well, it looks all very nice and clean. Right, first impressions are pretty good. Little stylus is missing there, but it does look like it's been apart. Can you see here that these things are the things that cover the screws? They're missing here, but that's not uncommon to be missing anyway. These ones definitely look like they've been peeled off, but then again, this one doesn't here. So I might be lucky. Maybe it hasn't been apart before. Yeah, feels okay. Oh, well, first things first, let's take this out and see what's happening with the battery. So let me get some tools. Right, so I'm just going to undo these 2 little screws here and have a look at the battery. Right, okay, so this is the smaller battery. There's 2 capacities that you can get, high and low. Right, okay, so it looks like, not 100% sure which is which, but if you look here, it looks like you've got a plus, a dot, a negative, so positive, dot, negative, dot. So I presume, looking at this, it's going to be the red that's positive, and then the negative is going to be black. So let me just go across those pins and see if anything's coming up. I'm just setting the multimeter to DC volts, this one here, and I'm just going to go across these 2 little pins. So that one, I'm going to struggle now with this one. I'm going to have to get something to insert in there. Get a little bit of wire. Right, the tin foil was close, so I'm just going to use a tiny bit of tin foil just to see if there's anything on it. just kitchen tin foil. Right, okay, so it says there 4.12 volts. So there is definitely voltage there. Yeah, 3.7 volts. So that says to me that this is charged up. Right, okay, let me get my charger for this just to see if there is any, what happens when I actually plug in the charger to it. So it didn't come with a charger, but because I already have a Wii U, it makes it a lot easier. Right, well, it's certainly not charging when I plug that in. Right, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to try a different battery, just in case there is something wrong with maybe the contacts or something on the battery. I don't think there is, but still, you never know. Alright, so I've got another battery here. Basically, I put a high capacity battery into my Wii U. So this is definitely a working battery. It might well be flat, but I know it's working because this is the old one for my Wii U. Right, so it doesn't appear to be anything there. Let's just plug in this. No, it doesn't appear to be charging up. Now, just in case there's a faulty port up here, I have got a little stand that it charges up from the bottom. So I'm just going to try that one out. Okay, so with this one it charges from the bottom. You can see two little prongs come up there and just start charging. So you have to plug this into here. No, still not doing anything. I'm just going to get my actual Wii U just to make sure there's nothing gone wrong with my charger. Yeah, you can see that the lights come on there now. So it's definitely all working fine there, and it is an issue with the actual Wii U itself. So I don't get the batteries mixed up, I am going to take out this good battery and I'm going to put in this bad one here, because as far as I'm concerned it looks to be okay. Right, so we're going to take this apart now and see if we can learn anything more about it. Right, so we need to take apart this gamepad now. I haven't actually tested the console yet. I'm just going to take the seller's word for it that that's working, but I can actually see that this is not working, so that's why I'm going to concentrate on this to begin with, and then we can worry about the console afterwards. Now, to undo the screws here, we do need a tri-wing screwdriver, which is the Nintendo ones, the ones with that looks like a Y. So let's undo all the screws. I've taken the battery out because obviously I'm taking it apart now. So to get under these little pads here, you can just use your nail, or if you have a little screwdriver, they're just sticky little pads that just go onto the casing, just to make it look a little bit neater. Even through normal use, sometimes you do lose them as well. Yep, that's coming off. Okay, and there's just a little connector here. So I'm just going to pop that off, like so. Right, I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything that's obvious. Let's plug the battery in again. just going to go across the pins here on the battery. So we said it was red and black, didn't we? So let me just go across here now, just to see if there's any voltage on here. Yeah, there's definitely voltage there, 4.12. So you know, it's not a faulty connector. I mean, it all looks very nice in here. It doesn't look like it's been taken apart, does it? I wonder, could it be a fault with the actual switch down here, the power switch itself? Let's pop the battery out again. Right, I should have undone that first there. I didn't realise that would pop out so quick, that little ribbon cable. Hopefully it'll be okay. Looks okay. Right, let's undo this ribbon cable here. I'm not sure on this one whether it flips up or gets pushed out. Don't know. Looks like that brown bit hinges upwards. There we go. Right, so these little black and red wires here are for the microphone. Let's just take this board out here. So this is for the power. Everything just looks perfect. So it's this one here, which is the power button. Okay, I did notice that that little connector there was a little bit loose. It was just sticking up a little bit, but I can't see how that would cause a problem, because I presume that's maybe to give power to the screen, and that's to give the picture to the screen. Let's put it back together down here. Put those screws in first. That's nice. They've done little arrows. You see here, if you zoom in. If you look closely there, you can see that there's just a little arrow pointing to the screw. So that's useful. So sometimes it's amazing how quick you forget where they come out of. And I've got another little arrow telling me it's this hole here. Strange. Absolutely nothing. Now, one thing I don't know is that, let's say if it was left discharged for ages, whether it just needs to be plugged in for a good 5 or 10 minutes to give it power. But I'm not sure in this instance here because the battery was showing voltage, so I think that's going to be unlikely. Right, I'm just going to have a good look around the place, see if I can see anything obvious, and then come back to this video. Right, there's nothing obvious to me. I can't see anything that's been damaged or anything that's fallen out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismantle this just to have a look at the board from the other side, just in case I can see any like melted solder or anything like that, or to see if I can see basically anything that doesn't look right. So I'm just going to take this board out here. Now, that could be my imagination there, but I don't remember touching that earlier, and when I went to undo that, it came undone very easy. So let me just put everything back together just in case, because that does go down to the power switch here. Let me put this back in. No. It's completely dead. Right. Well, I'm just going to dismantle it all. Well, I think that's everything off it. I've got to do this one as well. Put a new bit of sticky tape on that because it left most of it behind. There we go, right, that came off nice and easy. See, I haven't got the knowledge to be able to test all the little capacitors and resistors and stuff. So really I'm just doing a visual inspection. Right, okay, because I don't actually know where the fault is, you know, on what board. I presume it's going to be on here, but I don't really know, do I? I mean, it could be this little strip down here, in which case, and I don't want to spend hours looking at this. What I'm going to do is, I've got a working Wii U, so I'm going to take apart the working Wii U and then I'm going to swap parts over. So I'm going to get this board here from the working Wii U, put it in here and then see if it charges up and powers up. Then I know the fault's on here, so I can look at this more closely then. because we know with this one that it works. Because when I turn it on, you can see the light comes on there and it starts to work. Now obviously when you do this, there's a risk that you could end up breaking both of them, but you've seen how easy it was to take apart, so I think I would be unlucky if I was to damage this in the process, but that is the risk you take. Right, I'm just going to fast forward through the dismantling of this because you've already seen it, that one there getting taken apart. But just out of interest, that is the high capacity battery. You can see the size difference there. That's the normal one and that's this one here. So that's basically 2550 milliamp hours and this one's only 1500. Okay, so this is my good Wii U here. Forgot about that little ribbon cable there. There we go. So this is the board, or the motherboard I presume, of the good Wii U. So I'm going to put this into the bad one and then see if it starts working or not. I'm hoping it doesn't work, because that means then it's going to be something else, because this is going to be the hardest part to fix. So remember, this is the good board in the bad Wii U. Right, so I'm just going to go round and plug everything back in. Hopefully I don't miss anything out. Right, I think that's everything back on, so I'm just going to pop the one screw in here just to keep it from falling out. There's no point in putting it all back together properly because it's probably going to be coming out again in a few seconds. Right, okay, so now let's get the battery. Look now. Okay, yeah, so it's coming on. So obviously there's something wrong with that motherboard over there, which is a bit annoying because unfortunately I don't really know how to be testing capacitors and resistors. That's something I'd love to learn. I mean, I can check for continuity between certain things, which I'm going to do now. Let me just, before I waffle on, let's just see if it's actually charging up. Yeah, there goes the charge light there. Yep. Right, okay, so it's definitely this part here that is faulty. This part here. So there's probably not going to be much I can do about it, but I am going to just have a close look at everything. Maybe see if I can trace a few tracks between where the battery contacts go and go onwards. I mean, it could be as simple as just one of the faulty little capacitors or something that's gone faulty, but the problem is I don't know how to test these. So if there is any YouTube videos out there that people can recommend on how you can do, you know, this like small component level repair, then I would love to know how to do that, because these things I presume would only cost pennies, and yet, you know, the whole thing's kind of failed just because of one small component. So yeah, if you know any good videos, please add it down to the comments, because it will help me and also other people as well. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the camera for a bit, and I'm just going to basically just go between the pins here and various different things just to see if I can see anything. You know, just see if my multimeters are picking up anything. So I'm just going to use the continuity tester and just to go between different things. But realistically now, it's unlikely that I'm going to find what the fault is here. Okay, so I've been testing the motherboard, going across various different pins for continuity, and everything I go across seems to be okay. But remember, I've got very limited knowledge with fixing these kind of things when it comes to the circuit boards themselves, the actual individual components. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto Google and just to see if there's any common fault, because for all I know somebody might say, oh yes, this chip here always goes faulty or something like that, in which case then it will give me more guidance, because right now unfortunately this is beyond me. So I've had a look online and there's very little information about it apart from replace the Wii U motherboard. There doesn't seem to be anybody saying that, you know, like one of the fuses, for example, has gone faulty. Now I have looked at the fuses here and I found 3 of them. If you have a look closely, you can see that. Can you see these ones here look a bit different than all the others? They've got like a little kind of circle or something in the middle of them. So if you look at these ones here, they look just with black in the middle. but then you see here there's a circle, and if you have a look it says F1, so these two must be little capacitors, C100, C97, and then this is fuse 1. Fuse 2 is somewhere around here. Where's it gone? Try and look for the ones with the little dot in. Oh, well, there you go. This is fuse 3. Can you see here? F3 there. And also this is fuse 2. So they're the 3 fuses that I can find. And when I go on the continuity tester, they are working, you know, when I go across the fuses. There is continuity. So there's continuity across all them. I don't know if there's more fuses, but really I'm running out of options now. Good news is you can buy these from China for about £14 or £15 from eBay, but then the problem with that is it's going to take a long time to arrive, but at least it's an option. I will be able to get this working by buying another board. It's just that, wouldn't it be great if you could just change one of the fuses and then it would start working, because you'd be able to get them for pennies. Right, let me keep looking. Okay, so unfortunately it's time for me to give up on this motherboard now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy one off eBay, but before I do that, I'm just going to put the good motherboard back into the faulty Wii U, and then I'm going to make sure everything's working on it. In fact, I might just leave that motherboard in it and then put my new motherboard from China into my existing Wii U. And then there's no point, you see, if I do this and then there's something wrong with the console, or there's something wrong with the Wi-Fi or the screen or something else, then there's no point me wasting any more money on this motherboard. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to put the faulty one to one side. Really, I'm probably going to end up binning that, because there's not really much I can do with it, unless, for example, in the future maybe the camera or something would go, and there would be a possibility that I might be able to solder a new one in if my skills get better at a later stage. So the good motherboard's fully in here now. It's all screwed up, so now I need to put the back cover back on and then screw it all back together. Okay, so it's all put back together now. As you can see now, that seems to be working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the Wii U console and see if it actually connects to the TV and stuff, because there might be issues with that as well. Right, okay, so I've got it plugged into a TV now. Let's turn it on. See if it comes up on the TV. Also, let's see if there is actually a disc in here. There's a little light on, I can hear it moving. Okay, Super Mario 3D World. Well, that's pretty good, because I'm pretty sure, do you know, I don't know how much that is second hand, but I think that is a £10 game. So that's good. Well, okay, and we've definitely got life there up on screen. Now, let's turn this on, see if it syncs up. I'm not sure now, this gamepad, because I've changed the motherboard, I presume it's going to be synced up to my other Wii. I presume the syncing's done on the actual motherboard itself, but let's just see. Yeah, okay, so let's hit the sync button here and hit it again, and now hit the sync button here. Right, okay, enter the things on screen, so heart, well, touchscreen's working, that and diamond, sound's working, yeah. I mean, it all appears to be actually very clean. It's probably in better condition than mine when I clean up the screen. Paired the Wii U gamepad with the Wii U console. Okay. Right, okay, obviously this is the guy. I'm just going to turn the volume on down on this one, because I'll get a claim for that. all appears to be just fine. Well, I'm just going to fast forward through this now just to see that it's all working. Yeah, I can hear the rumble working, so that little motor must be the rumble thing at the back. Probably just hear that. Oh, all the face buttons are working. Just make sure sound's coming through the TV. Yeah, it's coming through there. Right, okay, so that all looks to be good. Let me just check the camera's working. Test the microphone while I'm here. Testing, 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 testing. Yeah, that's fine. Right, okay, so the camera's working, you can see there. It's my ceiling, and that's my room. Right, okay, well I'm happy with that. I'm just going to quickly check the Wi-Fi and then I'm going to order up the motherboard. Okay, and it's found the Wi-Fi networks as well. So that's good. I'm going to order up this motherboard now. Okay, so it all appears to be testing just fine. So I've ordered myself a motherboard from eBay. It was only £14.24. Unfortunately, delivery is going to be a long time, so I'm going to be waiting probably a month or more for that to arrive. But still, it wasn't a huge amount of money. So I spent £45 on the actual console plus £8 postage, so that's 53. And then add this onto it, so that's 53, 63, 67, so £67.24, which is not too bad for a working Wii U. It doesn't come with the charger for this, so again, you're going to have to factor that in as well. That's going to cost a little bit of money. For me, it doesn't matter because I've already got a charger, but if you were to move this on to someone else. Good point is this game here is actually an expensive game. If you were to go to a place like CEX in the UK, you'd be paying £18 to buy that game because it's a popular game. It still demands a lot of money second hand. Obviously there's no box with it, but it does appear to be in perfect condition. But obviously you're not going to get £18 if you were just to sell that on eBay, but it still knocks down the price a little bit, which helps if you were to do this to make profit. I don't, but if you were to do this, then everything like that helps. So in this instance here, I quite enjoyed it. It's more enjoyable when you actually fix something rather than just replace something. But at the end of the day, it came broken and now it's fixed and it appears to be working just fine. So I would have preferred it if I could have just maybe soldered in something onto the motherboard to get it working. But still, I don't mind, you know, I'm happy with it. And a Wii U console for, even if you were to take into account that charger, let's say if you spent £10 on that, I mean, I don't know how much they are, but it would still kind of be worth it because it's a very good system to get really for anything under £80. But realistically, £80 you would probably get a working used one, so it wouldn't really be worth, you know, looking for second-hand ones unless you got it cheaper than that. But that's the risk you take. Sometimes you can fix it and sometimes you can't. And if you had more knowledge than me, you might well be able to fix it and you might well be able to fix that motherboard. But the searching that I've done online looks like most people just replace it, so that's exactly what I've done. Right, okay, and you can see it working up there on the TV as well. So there you go. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Fix-It videos because I'm going to do a whole load of these trying to fix series and also for how-to videos as well. Take care, bye now.